Okay, welcome. My name is Ann Morgan, and I'll be hosting tonight along with the rest of our team. And we want to thank all of you for being here and thank the nonprofits. We're not missing any nonprofits there, are we? You all here? Yeah, okay. We had some empty seats just for those at home. Um, we want to thank you for being here. We know that you're busy, and thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight. We appreciate you. We want to, let's see, yeah. We work really hard to make our meetings efficient and meaningful, and this couldn't happen without all the volunteers and all the work that is done behind the scenes. So a big shout out to all the volunteers, our board, our coordinators, the people that you saw tonight. So thank you to all of them. We'd like to thank Jenny Bexel of Spot for supporting us. She's our sponsor. And for those of you who are new, because we have several new members tonight, and with her support, we don't need to charge dues, and 100% of your giving goes directly to the nonprofits. So thank you to Jenny Bexel. That's awesome. And also, we want to thank the Door County Community Foundation. They worked with us to figure out a way to handle our payment processing in a way that is so helpful, both for the nonprofits and for us, a huge administrative relief, really. And one of the things to note for the nonprofits is they used to receive all of your checks, hundreds of checks, and had to process each one, send the tax acknowledgement letters, and now they receive 2 checks and it's all consolidated. So thank you to the Door County Community Foundation. So tonight we're going to hear from the nonprofit. We're going to hear about these 3 nonprofits, and we'll vote, and we'll do a business update, and we'll hear from the prior award recipient tonight is Door County Food Pantry Coalition. Amy Conley's going to present that, and then we'll do the drawing for next quarter and announce awards. Our goal is to connect like-minded women to make a meaningful impact in our community. And this is supported by our core values, which can be remembered by community first. And I invite you to go online and look at this in more detail because they've been really helpful in the way we've grown and how we've gotten to where we are today. Now, tonight, our members that are presenting, they're excited and passionate about the nonprofit that they are presenting. And so please give them your full attention and big rounds of applause. And Ann Glesner is going to be hosting the nonprofit section of the meeting tonight. And with that, I'd like to introduce Beth Healy presenting Door Community Auditorium.
Hello, everyone. I'm Beth Healy, and I'm a proud board member of Door Community Auditorium. My goal is to tell you 3 things: what happens there, how did it come about, and how would we use the money from 100 Women. So first of all, though, how many people here have ever attended anything at Door Community Auditorium? That is very heartening, and I imagine if I asked each of you, I would have a very different answer from what you attended, because in 2024, that's the numbers I'm going to use, and I have to look at them. There were 237 events, 191 school performances, which included rehearsals and assemblies and auditions, 26 local and regional community partners. The one that probably people know most is the Peninsula Music Festival. 32 national touring acts, 10 films, lectures, coffee house concerts, and the 580 students from joining Gibraltar School and 3,620 students from all 5 Door County schools participate in student matinees, workshops, and exhibits. The Link Gallery in the DCA is the only all-student art gallery in the county. DCA is supported by 6 full-time staff, and there are 165 volunteers from the community, including board members, those nice people who help you park, and the ushers. 505 households support DCA through either Auditorium Society or the giving to the annex, which I'll talk about in a minute. and we have over 130 advertisers and sponsors. But where did it come from? So about 35 years ago, when the PMF was performing in the old gymnasium, which no longer exists, Ann Emerson and a group of other like-minded people realized that if we wanted to keep the arts alive and bring big art, things like the Peninsula Music Festival, we would need a better venue. And it wasn't easy. There were two primary donors who came forth at the beginning. A referendum didn't pass, so Ann Emerson willed this to happen. And so for those who don't know Ann Emerson, she runs Edgewood Orchard Galleries. She's also a founding member of the Friends of Gibraltar, which enhances all the school kids' experiences. She helped to fund Right on Door County, and she willed this to happen. So without her, we would not have had the many years and many great experiences at the DCA. So once it was built, it has, brought endless pleasure and learning experiences. Any kid who's gone to school and spent time on that stage knows what it's meant. The donation from 100 women will be earmarked for the Ann Emerson Education Wing, which is part of the Encore campaign to build the annex. And I don't know if any of you have driven past the DCA and seen the building going up across the street. Its name for the working name is the Annex. And what's going to happen in this building is music instruction. If a person in Northern Door, a kid wants to take something other than band, there's no place to rehearse. There will be now, and adults can take lessons too. Variety of performances, jazz, blues, students' performances, gathering space, collaborative office space, a full catering kitchen, beer and wine. It is not attached to the school. So it will also have expanded accessible parking. So all of those, but it is the real importance is that we believe that what Ann has done as a community member to support the arts really does, it's meaningful to many people to be able to name the education wing for her. And so the monies from tonight will go toward that goal.
Thank you very much. Before I introduce Carrie, I just want to remind everyone that we have just 5 minutes for each one of the Q&As, and it's very important that we try to be fair to all of the nonprofits. And so just a friendly reminder that if you can keep your questions succinct, that will give the nonprofit more time to answer the questions, and a reminder that it's not a time for testimonials. So with that, I'm pleased to introduce Executive Director of the Door Community Auditorium, Carrie Lewis. Welcome, Carrie.
Thank
Who
you
has
for
our
having
first-
me.
Who has our first question for Carrie? So Beth did a great job, but there's got to be some questions.
What's the biggest change that you'll see when the annex is completed?
Well, the opportunity to have pre-show and post-show events before and after our main stage events. Our programming at DCA won't change much, but this will supplement and improve the audience experience with things like pre-concert lectures, or as Beth mentioned, a glass of beer or wine before a show. Being on school grounds, we're not allowed by the state to serve or sell beer and wine on school grounds. So certainly being in Wisconsin, some folks like to have a glass of something before a concert. We also, that space will flex and be a soda fountain. So during the school year, when our programming is more family oriented, we'll be able to lock up all those cupboards and be able to have more like a non-alcoholic kombucha or ice cream drinks. It's very important to us that it be a nimble space to accommodate a wide variety of programs and things like blues brunches or salsa lessons with a margarita, or a student cabaret or a comedy night. A lot of more intimate programming that we can pair with food and beverage is what it's going to do for us.
What is your annual budget and where does the majority of your funding come from?
Our annual budget is right around 1.2 million, and 54% of it comes through earned revenue, so through ticket sales and the rental of our venue. And then the other 48% is contributed through sponsorship, through annual contributions, through playbill advertising. It's a costly endeavor to get touring national acts to come all the way up to Door County. Our venue size is 725 seats, and often the acts that we're getting are playing venues that are more like 2,000, 2,500 seats. So the economics are not quite in our favor. So we do rely on the community to help offset those costs and then hopefully keep tickets at a level that isn't crazy, but is still attainable to the local Door County families living here year round. Hi, Denise.
You guys have already done quite a substantial amount of fundraising. How will this gift help you, or where are you at now on fundraising for the annex?
For the overall project, the project budget, including purchasing the property, the demolition, preparation, architectural, is 5.6 million. We're currently at 5.24 million. And this gift, as Beth mentioned, is designated for the Emerson Education Wing. And a lot of folks think because Anne has her name associated with so many wonderful things in our community that she's some great philanthropist. And she's actually kind of more of modest means, but she's had such big dreams and such a magical way of using her skills and getting other people, other philanthropists excited about her dreams. And that's how the magic has happened. And so I think we're really excited about naming it for her because she's made so many things come to life for our community's benefit over the past 40 years.
Carrie, a quick question. You mentioned this in theory, but approximately what percent of the ticket cost does the actual cost of the performance cover? Or I said that backwards. What percent is the ticket covering of the actual cost?
I think this year we've dipped a little bit, unfortunately. We're at 78% of the tickets being the artist production costs actually being funded by ticket income. So a lot of people will see a sold out show and $100 tickets and think, oh, they're raking it in. But we work really hard to make those concerts possible. And the other thing is that in the fall and winter time, we book a lot of family and cultural shows that we know good and well we're going to struggle just to break even. So the things that are making profits are then offsetting the cost for those educational programs. Minutes, goes fast.
Thank you very much, Carrie. And now I would like to introduce Amy Conley, who is here to represent and present on behalf of Door-Tran. Welcome, Amy.
Good evening, everyone. In Door County, we are so blessed. Breathtaking views, the sun has already set, but breathtaking views, strong communities, and a way of life that feels connected and caring. But as we all know, living in a rural community also brings challenges, especially when it comes to getting to where you need to go. For many of our neighbors, transportation is not just about convenience. It's about independence, health, and opportunity. It is essential. That's where Door-Tran comes in. Door-Tran is a local transportation service dedicated to making sure that everyone in Door County can get where they need to be, whether it's a doctor's appointment, a job, the grocery store, or a visit with family. Their mission is simple but powerful: to make transportation affordable, available, and accessible to everyone. Door-Tran provides a variety of programs, from volunteer driver services and half-price travel vouchers to vehicle repair and purchase assistance, all designed to meet people where they are in a system that is built with compassion, flexibility, and a deep understanding of what Door County life requires. For some, Door-Tran helps them buy or repair a vehicle, For some, it's a way to afford a taxi when no other options are available. It's a veteran getting a ride to the VA clinic. Door-Tran is probably best known for its volunteer driver program, available to eligible community members and all veterans. Nikki from Door-Tran asked me to share with you that they are always looking for volunteer drivers. So far in 2025, the number of rides given by volunteer drivers, including those to veterans, is 1,480. Over 76% of those are for medical and 11% for nutrition, which means grocery shopping and food pantries. Some of the medical rides right now are for radiation treatment in Green Bay, as the machine at DCMC is currently down. For some, this is 5 round-trip rides per week. For some, the ride might be to see their spouse in assisted living. The cost of those rides is determined by many things. The most a ride with a volunteer driver costs is 40 cents per mile. Each of these rides remind us that transportation isn't just about miles. It's about dignity, connection, and hope. When someone donates to Door-Tran, they're not just supporting a ride. They're helping a neighbor stay employed. They're ensuring that an older adult can stay in their home and remain independent. In 2024 alone, Door-Tran provided thousands of rides across our community, saving residents thousands of dollars in travel costs. Behind every one of those trips is a story, a family, and a future that's a little more stable because of the support Door-Tran provides. Door-Tran can't do this work alone. They rely on donations from people like you, people who care deeply about our community and want to make a difference right here at home. Door-Tran's annual budget for 2025 is $400,000. This comes from grants, fundraisers, and gifts from individuals such as yourself. Your gift today helps keep volunteer drivers on the road. It helps with vehicle loan and repair programs, the half-price taxi vouchers, and so much more. It ensures a response when someone calls needing a ride. Your gift will help to ensure that these services are available, accessible, and affordable. Transportation also saves lives. My grandmother lived in rural Wisconsin, very similar to us here in Door County. She had to drive 5 to 7 miles to get to most things. When she turned 80, the conversation started about, we probably need to take her driver's license away. Her children were unable to help for a variety of reasons, and she was on the go every day. We couldn't keep up with her. And a service such as Door-Tran did not exist. When she was 82, she was headed to her every Friday hair appointment. She ran a stop sign. She hit another car. She died, and the driver of the other vehicle was seriously injured. This is why I'm asking you to vote for Door-Tran this evening. When you give to Door-Tran, you're not just helping people get from point A to point B, you're helping them move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of Door-Tran, Nikki White. Welcome. Okay, thank you. Who has the first question for Nikki?
Can you tell us about what other type of funding you get and how this funding is different than the like federal or state funding that you might receive?
So we do receive about 50% of our funding from federal grants. We also receive different grants, United Way, the Cop Seeker, Greater Green Bay Community Foundation. Rider fares, people contribute. It's probably between 7 and 10% of our budget between the different programs. For the rider fares, people pay back their loans. So it depends on which program it is. The impact that this will make is just, it's definitely, I don't want to say it, but it's easier dollars than writing a grant and coming back and reporting it, because we are really, really busy. We do about 5,000 phone calls and walk-ins every year. So our staff is busy doing all those things. So this is just a nice gift.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Brenda.
Amy already answered my question, but one is, if somebody volunteers to drive for you, what would be the time commitment? Is it like on a weekly basis or a?
It's whenever you'd wish. It's a very flexible position. You give Kim, our volunteer coordinator, your available dates. If she calls you and you're unavailable, you just simply say no. And we hear that more often than not. So we encourage people, do that, because we don't want to burn you out. We don't want you to say yes when you're reluctant to do so, because then you might not say yes when you can do it. So completely flexible, Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. are the hours. So it's not nights, weekends, or anything like that.
So Brenda asked about the drivers, but what type of vetting process do you have for your volunteer drivers?
So they go through a background check through active screening. That is nationwide. It checks for sex offender registry and criminal. We also check their CCAP, their driver's license, and we obtain 2 references. One of those questions that Kim asks them is, would you feel comfortable driving with this person? Because that's obviously a very important feature. And they may not disclose it, but they might be like, oh, please don't put them behind the wheel. They mean well, but maybe do you have some folding that they could do at the office instead? So we do get those reference checks as well. Thank you.
Nikki, if there's one thing or one big idea that you would like us to take away about Door-Tran, what might that be?
I always say, what will you do when driving is not an option?
I feel kind of stupid asking this, but do you also just like take people to the airport if they need it or that sort of thing?
We do,
Okay.
and they are required to be Door County residents, so keep that in mind. We're not taking tourists down there, because we need the money to be here for our people as they're aging. But yes, we don't tell them what they can or cannot, because social is very important. We do have some people who have gone out of state for medical procedures. They go out of state to be with family when they're undergoing medical, so we're not there to really judge why they can and cannot ride with us.
Hi, we were wondering what kind of insurance policy you would have.
So
Vehicles.
Yep. So their primary insurance is their own vehicle insurance. And then we have an excess liability policy that covers over and above. Should your insurance be maxed out for any particular reason, then we have a policy that would cover that over and above.
What percentage of your clientele are older adults versus younger?
I don't necessarily have the percentage for the volunteer program. I would probably say it's probably around 80 to 85%, but we do service other community members with other programs. So to have that data, I don't have it here, but I'm happy to get back to you for that.
You said that 50% of your money funding was from federal grants. How many of those have been rescinded now?
None.
Ooh, you flew under the radar.
I just received that notification like within the last 2 weeks. Otherwise, I was sweating pretty hard saying, yes, they say it's coming through, but you know, that things could come back. So
Is this a van or many cars or trucks?
private personal vehicles, you use your own vehicle. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, so last but not least, we have Northern Sky Theater, and here is Sarah Miller to present on their behalf. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello, everyone. Many of you have maybe seen me up here before. 4 years ago, I sponsored Door County Humane Society, and now you get to see another very important side of me. I am a Northern Sky super fan, long-time supporter and volunteer, and have been since early 2000s when I helped create their annual fundraiser, Raise the Curtain, in 2004. Actually, I've been around before that. The organization has been known as the Heritage Ensemble and American Folklore Theater, as I have known Fred Heidi, aka Doc, since high school. So I know all kinds of backstories. Anyway, today I get to share why neither Northern Sky is so deserving of the support of the 100+ Women Who Care Northern Door County organization. With your help, we wouldn't be just 100+ women who care. We'd be 100+ women who create, 100+ women who connect, and 100+ women who come to the rescue. Northern Sky's mission is simple but ambitious. Every year they create brand new musicals for audiences of all ages who come from near and far to Door County. And not just any musicals, ones rooted in Wisconsin stories, history, and humor. That commitment is rare. Writing new musicals is the most expensive kind of theater to make. Then Northern Sky goes one step further. They make the tickets affordable so entire families, grandparents, parents, and kids can all share the experience together. In fact, Northern Sky has already created more than 80 original shows, and hundreds of thousands of people laughed, cried, and sung along under the stars at Peninsula State Park. One of those shows, Guys on Ice, is one of my superfan claims. I need more than 2 hands to count the number of times I've watched Doug Manchesky sing the snowmobile suit and the Fish is a Miracle food. And if you have not heard those, you need to see them. Anyway, another show is Belgians from Heaven that has a sweet character, Henry, after whom I named one of my cats. And you may remember the story I told as part of the Humane Society presentation. Anyway, let's talk about the future and how 100+ Women Who Care can literally be part of a Northern Sky story. Create. This support would help launch The Thing with Feathers, which is planned for the Outdoor Amphitheater in 2026. It's an ambitious new musical with extraordinary design build expenses due to the scale of this production. It's about birds, the people who love them, and the people who don't quite understand that love. This one spreads its wings wider than most Northern Sky shows, with 10 actors, large bird puppets that you can see from the benches without binoculars, and magical design by Wisconsin's own Lisa Schlenker. A word about Lisa. I have known her for many years as the amazing props master at the Skylight Music Theater in Milwaukee. She created puppets for Avenue Q at the Skylight and offered a puppet building session as an auction item, which I won. My sister Rondi, who's a member here and also here for moral support for me tonight, and my niece, who is also Rondi's daughter, joined me for this session. Rondi created The Life of Guy, the Packer fan in search of eternal glory, aka the drunken Packer fan. I created Elton Bunny after Elton John, and Christy created Tigger the Tiger. Back to Northern Sky. Those fantastic bird puppets won't just take flight because of Lisa's artistry. They'll take flight because of you. Connect. The story in The Thing with Feathers is set on the 3rd Saturday in May, the peak bird migration day in the Northern Hemisphere, when birders gather to identify species and measure population health. Audiences will be swept into that world of nature, connecting laughter and song with deeper questions about our environment, biodiversity, and the natural beauty we're so lucky to enjoy here in Door County. Using thought-provoking theater to present issues such as climate change and declining biodiversity helps the people of Door County sustain the beauty and comprehend the fragility of this sacred place. Come to the rescue. Here's the challenge. Northern Sky recently lost a major grant that was meant to cover the workshop process and the creation of the extraordinary puppetry that is the heart of this production. Holly gave me a tour of the prototypes, and they are really fantastic. Northern Sky has already invested heavily in workshops, planning, and prototyping the birds, but there's a crucial gap to fill to complete the puppetry, casting, and rehearsal process to put this all together for a new show for you. And here's where 100+ Women Who Care can truly make the difference. With your investment, we can help create a bold new work of art, connect thousands of people to nature and each other, come to the rescue at a pivotal moment in Northern Sky's ability to present the story. So thank you for letting me share this with you today, and for considering how you can help Northern Sky's next great adventure take flight. Holly Feldman, the managing director, will now answer any questions you may have, and see you under the stars next summer.
Thank you, Sarah. She hit 5 minutes on the nose. And so now I'm pleased to announce present the managing director of Northern Sky Theater, Holly Feldman. Welcome, Holly.
Thank you, everyone. Glad to be here.
Quick question.
Yes.
I purchased the Guys on Ice DVD and I wanted to buy more and other ones. Why aren't they available?
Yeah, we don't record a lot of our shows. That Guys on Ice happened
Sure.
because of a partnership with Wisconsin Public Television. So it has been used as a fundraiser for them annually for many years during their campaign time because it's so quintessentially Wisconsin. But we do have audio recordings. And if you go to any streaming service, you type in Northern Sky Theater, you can listen to many of our shows that we've had recorded over the years. So it's a little something.
Holly, you talked about connecting nature, arts, each other. Do you have any stories, or can you tell us about how many touches you have?
Yeah, actually, what's really interesting is when we first announced this show, and really, this isn't really being announced till our end of year letter comes out, which is a few days from now. So you're getting in on the news. But we put out audition calls for this new show, The Thing with Feathers, and we've already heard from 2 organizations that support the Kirtland's warbler, is what this story is about, a rare bird that is seen in a place that it shouldn't be seen. We've already heard from 2 national organizations that want to know how they can help spread the word, how they can get Kirtland warbler fans up to see our show. It's a weird world, but yeah, so those are some of the things. The Open Door Bird Sanctuary came to the reading of our show to help us develop the story. So it's going to be a really interesting opportunity for us to share that conservation and connection to nature, especially being in the state park. Oh, sure. So we see about 25,000 people a year, and of that, about 16% are youth, children, and students, for which we have a student ticket price of just our children price is just $14. Students are $19. So yeah, 25 to 30,000 people is what we see each year, and 16% of that is children and youth.
Hi, you mentioned that you had lost a grant.
Mhm.
Can you speak a little bit about the impact of that loss and the gap that you need to complete?
Yes, so that grant was $10,000, and we were going to use that to leverage another $10,000. So in some ways, it feels like we lost about $20,000. This production, because of the increased scope, like Sarah mentioned, will be probably about $20,000 more than our average production. It comes in the form of additional actors, the costumes, the housing, the puppetry, all of those things will be where that loss factors in. And it was just changing some funding parameters for the NEA, National Endowment for the Arts.
What is your annual budget and how much of that is covered by ticket revenue?
Sure. Our annual budget is 2.4 million, and our ticket price is about 45% of that cost. The other 55% comes in unearned revenue from individual gifts, from grants, from sponsorships, and organizations like 100 Plus Women Who Care.
With the loss of the grant, what other avenues are you exploring to get that funding besides this organization?
We'll seek other grants like this. We'll speak with individual donors who want to help cover that gap. We have a cadre of over 200 volunteers, many of whom are on our Tuesday crew. Our Tuesday crew helps every Tuesday. And some of those folks really want to help build these puppets and do that sort of work. So we'll use our volunteer crew. One particular woman who is so excited that she has puppetry in her background, and so we'll use volunteer help. We might have to change the scope of those puppets. There's one particular puppet that I love that is, I don't want it to be cut because of costs, but that's the kind of thing we'll have to think about. So, yeah.
You've spoken a lot tonight about the new show, and that's probably what this money is going to go to. How will that impact the other shows that you're going to do for next season?
Yes, we'll have 2 other summer shows that will be returning, and the shows that we have returning this new show will require the bulk of our efforts, and so we're bringing back 2 shows that will be easier to manage and cast. this gets in way into the weeds, but the people who were in that show before can come back, so they sort of have the show in their minds and it won't need as much work. So the bulk of our efforts next year will go toward this huge production. For those birds to be able to be seen, much like a previous show we did with puppets, bone dance is really the biggest requirement of this show to be its best. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of our presenters. Okay, so next up, it's time to vote. So we'll take a brief little pause here while everyone gets their ballots. Reminder for those on the phone to please get your voting in if you haven't already done that. And I think everyone knows, but as a reminder, it's 1 vote per team. Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, so through tonight, since inception in July of 2018, we'll have raised over $787,000. And that's for 72 local nonprofit organizations. And part of this total includes the matching grant that we had the opportunity to apply for. And that's a Richard M. Schultz Family Foundation. And $65,000 of that total is from that matching program. Dick Schultz, the owner of Best Buy, founded this foundation in 2013 with the goal of giving away $1 billion during his lifetime. So thank you to Dick Schultz for doing that. Most recently, the Door County Fire Chiefs was approved for the match of $5,000. And thank you for Gloria Heck for that nomination. I was looking at metrics, so just to get my little county geek out here. The last 4 years, our awards from our members has averaged $30,000 per quarter, and with the grant, it's averaged over $34,000 a quarter. So that's well done. All right, here's the new members since our last giving quarter. And if you're here tonight, could you stand? And there might be a couple missing. I feel like I was talking to Beth and the couple we got in there tonight. So if you could stand, if you're a new member, we'd like to welcome you. Oh my gosh, we have several new members. Look at that. Welcome. Welcome. And since October 2024, the last 6 quarters, this gets to the question that was asked earlier, we've had over 400 members consistently. So that's really great. And it's because of your referrals. I was looking at the most frequently listed way they found out about it is word of mouth, referrals, the pulse. Those are the top ones. So thank you very much. And here's our elevator pitch. In case you're trying to tell somebody about us, this is concise. Do good, feel good, gather, have fun with 100+ WWC. Let's say it together. Let's say it together. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Do good, feel good, gather, have fun with 100+ WWC. Well done. Okay, I'd like to introduce Susie Cotter for our social update.
Look at that. Yay, the Edith M. Becker. So that picture was taken on Tuesday, September 2nd, the day after Labor Day. And for all those of you who are new here tonight, you may not know that we do an annual sunset cruise just for the fun of it. And this year was our 4th year, and we had almost, I think we did have 100 women who joined that boat. It was a lot of fun. So let's see, where'd I go in? Down here. Okay. Yeah, there's some of the fun people that were on the boat. There are so many pictures, and those pictures are up on our website too. So all of you who were on the boat, I believe that you're in one picture or another. We had a lot. So that's an annual event, and we try to do some different things just outside of these meetings, just to gather and have fun with each other and make new friends. Some more. Those are great. Oh yeah, fun. Okay, so next up, for our social group, each year we do an annual event in December, a luncheon on the first Saturday of December. It is held and will be held this year on December 6th at Horseshoe Bay Country Club. We call this Warm Hands, Warm Hearts, and we work with the Boys and Girls Club of Door County and the Door County YMCA and their kids program. So I will be sending out an email to everybody, hopefully in the next week or so. I was just talking with some ladies. We do reach out to them to ask them what they need. In the beginning, we did mittens and hats, thus the Warm Hands, Warm Hearts, and that has switched each year with what they need. So this is from last year's event, and it's always a lot of fun. And we try to bring in little entertainment, like, you know, we had modeling shows. That was fun the last couple of years. So stay tuned. We'll have something. And so look for that in your emails so that you can, if you can't make it that day, you're welcome to, and we encourage you to still donate, and we'll let you know how you can donate and what is needed in each of those communities. So I want to thank you all for coming to the cruise, and thank you in advance for the Warm Hands, Warm Hearts. I hope as many of you can come as possible. It's just a joyful luncheon, and we're doing a lot of good in the community. So thank you so much.
Okay, this is my button slide. All right, this is on our homepage, very easy, red buttons to join us, nominate a nonprofit, very easy, make a donation if you're looking for that link, and you can order apparel. So I'm modeling. Yeah, so now we're going to hear from a prior award recipient, the Door County Food Pantry Coalition. In April of 2024, including the matching grant that they received of $5,000, they received a total of $21,388. And with that, I'd like to welcome Amy Conley.
Hi again. When Ann asked me, the other Ann asked me to report tonight, I was like, do you want me to talk twice in one night? She said, sure. So I'm sorry. I'm Amy Conley, the Executive Director of United Way of Door County. We serve as one of the lead agencies on the Door County Food Pantry Coalition. Last year, you so graciously awarded dollars to them. Thank you so much. The coalition was formed in 2020 in the early days of the pandemic, when so many families suddenly found themselves out of work and unsure where their next meal would come from. Local food pantries and community organizations came together to create a unified response. What started as an emergency collaboration has grown into a lasting network. Through this coalition, food pantries across Door County are able to share resources, communicate regularly, and make sure help is available where and when it's needed most. They are also there to provide gift cards. We have produce and dairy vouchers that the pantries distribute to supplement what they are sending home with the clients. There are also gift cards that can just be used for groceries. These gift cards are shared with our child care centers and schools to distribute as needed. In the summer months, the majority of the pantries accept fresh produce, and Claude's, which is the pantry at Shepherd of the Bay, even has their own garden. Speaking of gardens, the Seed Library and the Master Gardeners help pantry clients grow their own gardens if they would like, with donated seeds and plants. Today, the Door County Food Pantry Coalition continues to serve thousands of individuals and families each year. Thanks to donations such as the one from 100 Plus Women Who Care, we can do all of this plus purchase from local farmers and producers to support the pantries. Recently, we purchased over 1,500 pounds of shelf-stable produce. I practiced 4 times and I still can't get that right. I really was like, I'm going to get it. No, shelf-stable produce, squash, onions, and garlic from Gathering Ground on Washington Island. The first 1,000 pounds were gone in a week. 300 pounds of cabbage are arriving tomorrow. We are in the second year of working with the DNR and the Bailey's Harbor Fish Company to harvest and distribute fresh frozen salmon through the pantries. In the fall of 2024, we purchased 9,500 pounds, and this year we have requested 10,000 pounds. These are purchased at discounted rates. Bailey's Harbor Fish Company processes and stores the fish, and the participating pantries receive the monthly delivery. Do I have pictures, Ann? So those are some pictures the first day we were at Strawberry Creek with the salmon harvest. And then that is the delivery of 1,500 pounds of shelf stable produce. I'll get there. And it's apple season. This fall, we've purchased 800 pounds of apples at a discounted rate from the Peninsula Research Station. Thank you so much for making all of this possible. Beyond meeting the immediate need for food, the coalition focuses on reducing barriers. That means providing clear information on where people can go for help, connecting people to multiple resources because they sometimes need more than food, and supporting a system where food insecurity can be addressed with dignity. It also means listening to the community, understanding where gaps still exist, and how to fill them. One example of this is that there are now 10 pantries in Door County. A year ago, there were only 9. This summer, one opened at Bayview Lutheran Church in Sturgeon Bay. There was not a pantry on the west side of Sturgeon Bay, and this was a need, especially for those who are limited in transportation options. Every box of food, every stocked shelf, and every delivery represents teamwork. Volunteers, some of you are in the room, dedicate hours sorting, packing, and distributing food. Donors, like all of you, make it possible for those shelves to stay full, and our partners, from local farmers and grocers to businesses and service clubs, extend generosity that strengthens the entire system. These examples remind us that behind every statistic are real people, neighbors who are able to sit down to a meal without fear or uncertainty. As we look to the future, the coalition remains focused on long-term food security. We know that the food pantries are not just a safety net. They are part of a broader effort to build community resilience. When people have access to basic needs such as nutritious food, they can better focus on work, education, health, and family stability. Because of you, we can continue to ensure that no one in Door County goes hungry. Please know that the pantries are prepared to meet the potential increase in demand if the government shutdown continues into November, impacting those who are on food share SNAP benefits. The Door County Food Pantry Coalition is proof of what can happen when we come together, when compassion meets coordination. It's a model of a community at its best, strong, caring, and united. Thank you for giving. Thank you for trusting and for believing that every person in our county deserves the most basic access to food. Together, we are feeding more than bodies. We're feeding hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. I think I speak on behalf of all of us that this is our favorite part of the evening in some respects, is to see the returning nonprofits come back and share their updates. Okay, so just a few updates regarding the nonprofits. So this quarter, we have 23 nonprofits in the hat. We had 5 nominations come in this quarter, which is great. And of course, 3 were pulled from the hat last time, hence the change. So the average age of the nonprofits in the hat, so this would be the number of days they've waited in the hat until they were pulled. It did jump up. It went up to 526 days. You can see that big jump since second quarter. And so that leads to our next slide, and we're going to share. This is actually the nonprofits in the hat and the number of days that they waited. And the key message here is just a reminder that we're going to continue with the aged hat drawing, which is in technically April. And so any nonprofits in January who have been in the hat 3 years or more will be eligible for the aged hat drawing. So there are 3 that are at the top of the list. You can see those at the top. So if they are not selected this evening, they will automatically be selected in our January meeting, and they will present in April. So fingers crossed that maybe a couple are pulled from tonight. But as we know, it's very much the luck of the draw. So, okay, so this evening, these are the nonprofits that were nominated and vetted. So the ones in blue are the 5 new nominations this quarter that I mentioned earlier. And thank you to Becky. She made sure that everybody on the list was actually in the hat. So that's great. And so now I need a volunteer, ideally somebody on an exit row here that can come up easily and pull the 3 nonprofits for presenting in January. Oh, is Paula, is she?
Quick on the draw, you know, it's all about the time. Somebody else come on. Here's one.
Okay. So the first one is the Francis Hardy Gallery. The second one is the Door County Master Gardeners. And the third one is Third Avenue Playworks. Thank you, Paula. Okay. Okay, so tonight's award, the main award recipient will walk away with $17,000 plus, as Anne mentioned, the opportunity to apply for the Richard M. Schultz matching funds, which is up to $5,000. And the runner-ups will each receive $8,500. And so I'm going to put my plug in to say, as a reminder, the nonprofits don't get paid until all of you have submitted your $100. So please be timely with that. Everyone would really appreciate it. And yeah, with that, the main award goes to, congratulations, Door-Tran. And next up is Anne again.
Okay, a few things before we wrap up though is we'd like the nonprofit presenters and the representatives and the board to go to the back of the room like right away. So if you could like make a path for them and scoot them along, that would be helpful. And if you, when you're on your way out, please turn in your name tags. And also if you have any checks, please turn those in. And there's a banner up here. If you haven't signed it already, we'd love to have you sign it. Please grab some business cards and spread the word. Our next meeting is January 26th, 2026. And we have this quote to end with: to change the world one lives in, one must start with where one lives. Call the midwife. So thank you, everyone. Safe travels home. Appreciate your being here.